Love wins over hate.
Our love is strong and loud and important and deserves to be here.
1 year since tragedy in Colorado Springs.
1 year since 5 lives taken at Club Q.
Derek was a fighter and he was fierce. He took care of us, he protected us.
1 year later, we reflect on their lasting impacts.
She'd see an elderly couple that was at a restaurant or something, she'd buy their dinner.
As milestones pass by.
You really changed my life for the good, Kelly, and I just want to thank you. Happy 41st birthday, Kelly.
Beacons of light.
He was a light that just shines so bright. He was my best friend. He was my best friend.
Who continue to empower others.
He was just such a life force.
When you first moved here, he was like, oh, I don't know anybody. And before we knew it, he had all kinds of friends.
1 year later.
Love wins over hate, and love wins over fear.
Thank you for joining us for this Denver 7 special. I'm Rob Harris.
And I'm Danielle Kreuter. Tonight, we are reflecting on the Club Q shooting 1 year later.
We want to spend the next 30 minutes honoring the 5 people who lost their lives in this nightclub 1 year ago this weekend. Those 5 people are Daniel Aston, a bartender at Club Q who worked tirelessly to help the transgender community. Kelly Loving, a transgender woman from Denver who helped others with their own transitions. Ashley Paw, a mom to her 11-year-old girl and a wife to her high school sweetheart.
Derek Rump, part owner at Club Q. Friends describe him as well-known with a heart of gold. And Raymond Green Vance. He was at Club Q with his girlfriend and her parents celebrating a birthday. You can see tonight Club Q is surrounded by a memorial all these months later, still up.
And it continues to grow as well. Just last week, I was here at this very spot with one of Kelly Loving's best friends as she marked a very important day. It's been about 11 months since Natalie Sky last visited the memorial outside of Club Q.
I made it, Kelly. I made it.
The 1 year mark of the horrific shooting here is approaching. But that's not why Natalie is here. She's here for a birthday party.
Happy 41st birthday, Kelly.
Kelly Loving, one of the 5 people killed at Club Q, should be celebrating another year of her life this week.
I will never forget her birthday, and I will always celebrate it with her.
Kelly Loving was more than just a friend to Natalie Sky. Kelly was a mentor and an ally, helping Natalie with her own transition. Natalie called her trans mother.
So a trans mother is someone that, like your real mother, they take you under their wing. They teach you the ropes of how it is to live day to day and, you know, what it is to be a trans woman.
Natalie talked to Kelly on the phone just minutes before she was killed.
Love you, Kelly.
Now, she talks to Kelly constantly.
I have become a stronger person for the trans community because of Kelly. I started a nonprofit for transgender women. I know Kelly would love the fact that I'm doing that for the trans community because she loved all her sisters.
A year after her death, gifts from family, friends, and strangers are still placed by Kelly Loving's picture, proving she's not forgotten.
She really did make a difference for the better of my life, and I can't thank her enough. Miss you, Kelly.
According to police, nearly 24 people were injured that night. Ed Sanders was one of them. He was shot multiple times. He tells me he was close with 2 of the people who lost their lives.
Daniel and Derek were wonderful to me. They called me Mr. Ed. They were just always there to listen to you.
Denver 7's Claire Lavazorio shares more about Daniel in the words of his parents.
we can say hi to him every morning.
A picture worth 1,000 words hangs in the hallway of Sabrina and Jeff Aston's Colorado Springs home. Words they wish they could say to their son, Daniel.
I wish we could have had more time with you. I'm grateful for the time we had because he was a great kid, but I wish we would have had more.
Instead, they spend time staring into his sweet smile and blue eyes, adding mementos to this memorial to keep his life.
These are his glasses from a long time ago. I found them the other day, so I put them out.
And love for others alive, 1 year after he was shot and killed while bartending at Club Q.
It feels like yesterday.
They were knocking on the door. And I didn't want to answer it because I knew what was, I now know what those mothers and wives of the military people, feel.
Sabrina Aston, Daniel's mother, says the shock has shifted to sadness as she shuffles through old photos, recalling how Daniel, born as Delaney, showed early signs of knowing they were trans.
She refused to wear dresses and hated pink. And I said, what's wrong? This is at 3.
At night, her mind wandering, wondering if there was anything she could have done to keep her baby safe.
And he loved Club Q, and I said, why don't you get a regular 8 to 5 job? You know how moms are. And he said, Mom, I love Club Q. And he'd said that shortly before this happened.
Sabrina says Daniel came out right before college, eventually undergoing hormone replacements and top surgery.
People always think that trans people are disturbed or whatever. The only time that he was sad was when he was a teenager, when he was, coming up, and he was still in this in-between stage.
The Astons discovering Daniel's inner thoughts through his poetry, words Daniel is leaving behind for them.
I may always be a lover poem, but that is just the way things go. I am soft and I will always be soft. This world will never tame me. This world will never make me hard.
In Colorado Springs, I'm Claire Lavazorio.
That's the kind of person that the world is lost now because of hate.
For Denver 7.
Daniel's photo, along with photos of all the other victims, still remain outside of Club Q, even though the club right now is closed.
Now, it's a memorial. The club part of Club Q will not be reopening, but the owner is opening a new club. It's going to be called The Q, and it'll be located inside the Satellite Hotel here in Colorado Springs.
This work is significantly less emotionally heavy and a lot more excitable, a lot more something to look forward to, a new chapter and a reset.
Work to get the queue ready, and they're hoping to open it this winter.
With the ER, you never know what's going to walk through the door at any time of day.
Serving selflessly.
I hope I never have to go through something like that again.
First responders share their experiences.
One of the things that really struck me that night was that lack of anger.
1 year later, and
if he wasn't there, there would have been more lives that were taken.
I guess I'm all fight and no flight. I do not regret the decision I made one bit.
We sit down one-on-one with a man who saved countless lives.
We are outside Club Q in Colorado Springs, where a year ago this weekend, people were jumping into action as the shooting unfolded. That included police officers and paramedics, and even people in the club taking their own friends to the hospital.
And when you talk to some of those paramedics, Rob, they will be the first to tell you they don't like being called heroes, but their actions that day undoubtedly saved lives.
Battalion 2, Battalion 4, reports of 10 people shot. Let's make this a mass casualty.
Crews were getting dispatched to a active shooter event.
Command from Transport Section, I have 3 stretchers heading in.
Somebody called on the phone. She tells me, she's like, there's been some sort of mass shooting over at Club Q.
ER Dr. Natalie Ayers and Medical Lieutenant Brian Ebmeyer have seen a lot through their long careers, but what they saw the night of November 19th, 2022 will stick with them forever.
I've never in my years seen so many individuals in one place with gunshot wounds. We just try to get as many patients in ambulances as we possibly can.
We had a police car pull up in the ambulance bay and the patients just started walking out. It then became kind of, MASH rapid triage.
Of the several patients sent to Penrose Hospital that night, every person survived.
They were very thankful for the care that they received, but just the overall demeanor of them, they weren't angry. Which I thought was interesting.
Paramedics say the quick actions of local police made the difference.
They went into treating patients right away, getting tourniquets placed and chest seals placed on people, and that played a big part in this event not losing as many lives as we could have.
They all say they were simply doing their job, an incredible feat in the face of unthinkable tragedy.
It's really hard. You have to find somewhere to put what you've just seen. You have to compartmentalize it in your mind.
Because behind the badges and the lab coats, these heroes are parents, they're friends, they're part of this community.
As a parent, you really try to teach acceptance to your kids.
It's difficult. You just realize that we're living in a different society now where this stuff has unfortunately become commonplace.
It really was the incredible bravery and quick thinking that brought this shooting to an end at Club Q. Richard Fierro was one of the heroes that jumped into action to stop the shooter. Fierro's an Army veteran, and his daughter's boyfriend, Raymond Green Vance, was one of the 5 people killed.
At the end of the day, I just went to a club, man. I didn't choose for any of this to happen, and it's been really nice that people have been so generous and kind to us, and it means something to me.
We're not the only ones who think that Fierro's a hero. The Los Angeles Chargers do too. Fierro's a huge fan, so the team invited him and his family to LA to meet the players, and they thanked him for his bravery. They also sent him to Super Bowl 57. Another hero that night was Tom James.
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon spent time with him as he reflected on 1 year later.
Normally I have this medium I mix with it, and then some rounder brushes for just to soften it out.
If we always knew what to say,
I'm kind of introverted.
There'd be no reason to paint.
It has given me the opportunity to put down what I can't express in words.
Colors on a canvas capture something for Tom James that can't quite be defined.
This mix of fear and hurt and no longer feeling as safe as I once was. I've seen some beautiful, amazing things, and I've seen the best and worst in people, but I think that's just life.
Maybe no place captures that better than Club Q.
I am a member of the community itself. I am bisexual, and I just wanted a place to, freely express that, and I didn't feel that anywhere else except here.
Where his life changed in so many ways.
Breaking news right now on Denver 7. A Saturday night out turned tragic in Colorado Springs.
At least 2 heroic people inside the club confronted and fought with the suspect.
I was the one who initially stopped the Club Q shooter.
And were able to stop the suspect from continuing to kill and harm others.
And I've always hated that hero label.
Call it chance.
I initially wasn't gonna go out that night. I had flipped a coin for it.
But James was at the club that night.
At first I thought it was part of the rhythm of the song that was playing, and then I started to hear the screams and I realized what was truly going on. There was a break in the bullets after I saw one of my friends, Derek Rump, fall through the glass, and I charged in and just started swinging.
He spent more than a decade in the military.
The Navy kind of ingrained that in me, that I can't just run.
And was prepared to go down with the ship.
I punched them, they shot me. At that point, the fear was out of me for what they could do to me, but what they could do to my friends.
James says he wrestled with the shooter for maybe 90 seconds, but it felt like hours.
It ain't the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. So hopefully, I've got a little fight in me.
The bullet went through his chest and ricocheted off a rib.
I guess the little luck was on my side.
He spent a week in the hospital.
Getting shot, not fun, but for them, I would do it again.
But the emotional recovery is ongoing.
There was a big layer of guilt behind everything, being unable to save everyone. And a lot of it was asking all these what ifs. What if I was faster? What if I was in a better position in the club? Could I have saved everyone? And a lot of my growth has been trying to accept that.
What he won't accept is being called a hero.
You can call me Tom. It's always my name. It always has been. I joke around friends with the hero stuff from time to time. One of the jokes regarding accolades was, I wish someone would just name a sandwich after me. It's kind of all I really want. Just something silly.
More than anything, he wants the names of the 5 people lost to be what everyone remembers.
So the painting itself is just simply a wall and a roof with 5 beams of light going up, and that's what I wanted to share.
Taking a blank canvas and turning it into art.
I try and remember that there are still people here, that we are still a family and we aren't going anywhere.
Like Club Q, took a building and turned it into a home. Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
James wants people to know that there was a third person that night who helped him and Richard Fierro take down the gunman, a black trans woman who is choosing to remain anonymous to protect her identity. We'll be right back.
Spending the evening in Colorado Springs, a community that's mourned a lot over the past year, but that's changed a lot too. And those who live here say it's important to look forward and to acknowledge those changes at the same time. One of the symbols of those changes is Yemi Mobolade. He's the city's first elected black mayor. We met with him as he reflected on Club Q 1 year later.
I felt so guilty last Thanksgiving, sitting around the table with my family. I got to sit with my siblings and parents and talking about what we're thankful for. And I knew families in our city didn't have that opportunity. In our community, and with my leadership, hate would not be tolerated. Not one bit. Hate would not be tolerated.
Mayor Mobolade was sworn in this June. He's also Colorado Springs' first mayor who's an immigrant. He was born in Nigeria.
We also sat down with the Colorado Springs Police Chief, Adrian Vasquez. He says all these months later, his department is still analyzing their response to the shooting that night.
We think about policy changes. We think about what equipment we now need. We think about, what kind of training should we add, or should we just maintain this kind of training? We really are standing beside them. And moving forward, we're still here. We're still going to be there for them.
The chief says the department learned they need to invest more into first aid equipment, including larger trauma kits. The department also partnered with Diversus Health in Colorado Springs to offer free therapy sessions for those impacted by the Club Q shooting. Those sessions are still available. The nation's mental health crisis hitting LGBTQ+ youth hard.
I want my child to live. Period. That's more important than anything.
Up next, we highlight one teen's journey to self-love. The shooting was a start of a challenging year for those in the LGBTQ+ community.
That was especially true for the youth in our community.
Denver 7's Jeff Anastasio shares that while there are still challenges, there's also hope.
It was a time in my life where I felt very trapped and alone.
Aaron Michaels was badly bullied at public school, constantly assaulted. He'd fake being sick just to get a break from the attacks.
When I was 11 is when I realized I was gay. That didn't help either. That made me more depressed. I became suicidal and I felt very alone.
A lot of LGBTQ+ kids feel alone. The Trevor Project reported 1 in 3 youth said their mental health was poor due to politics. And in Colorado, 45% surveyed said they seriously considered suicide. Switching to homeschooling was a lifeline for Aaron. So was the love and acceptance of his mom.
And when your kid says, "This is who I am," believe them, support them, and just love them.
Gabrielle Williams was always close to her son, but his coming out journey led him to find his voice through drag, and all of this has made her a better mom.
I want my child to live. Period. That's more important than anything.
They found Youth Scene in Denver, a safe space for LGBTQ+ youth, providing much needed mental health support, programs that help break the loneliness. Gabrielle first saw it when she dropped Aaron off for a week-long Youth Scene camp.
When I picked that child up, I picked up a whole new kid in such a beautiful way.
Youth Scene had such an impact on her, Gabrielle quit her 23-year career in real estate to become the nonprofit's program director.
We have a true connection with these kids. We give them tools and resources to thrive beyond our wildest imaginations.
And that support has helped Aaron thrive through drag.
He is like the premier youth drag performer in Colorado. We started a business together. He manages other youth drag performers.
It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be who you are. You're completely normal. Everything about you is unique, and it's great, and it's awesome, and don't be afraid to express that.
For the 1-year mark of the shooting, Club Q is holding a remembrance ceremony here this weekend.
Yeah, it's on Sunday at noon. Everyone is welcome. Survivors, family members of the victims, state and local leaders will be there to honor the 5 killed that tragic day 1 year ago. We want to say their names one more time. Daniel Aston,
Kelly Loving,
Ashley Paw,
Derek Rump,
and Raymond Green Vance.
We want to thank you for joining us for this Denver 7 special and for helping us to honor those 5.
And acknowledge the resilience of the survivors and how this community plans to work on moving forward 1 year later.